and Chen.
Mr. MacDonald, I think we'd like to hear from you first.
Right. Forgive me, my lords, I've just realised that I've not installed my hearing aids.
Yes.
I should have asked your lordships whether, unlike the Royal Courts of Justice, your lordships have a loop installed in these courts.
And I wouldn't know the answer, but I think not.
No.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Yes.
I would have thought we would.
I would hope we do, but I haven't heard that we do. Anyway,
They're absolutely fine as they are, my lord.
let's proceed.
Yes.
There's an awful lot of paper here, and one of the thoughts going through our minds, I have to say, was we don't feel confident that we're going to get to the precise truth, as often happens in an interlocutory matter, but perhaps this is rather more fraught and unclear than most. One of the thoughts going through our mind, it won't deal with things today, but an old-fashioned view might be that a receiver should be appointed at some point. But I think rather than spending time on that, unless either of you have anything you want to say about it, any order we make today, we envisage might well be expressly without prejudice to the right of the losing party to apply. I think it would have the only appropriate place would be at the BVI court for the appointment of a receiver. So any order we make would be without prejudice as to that. Not that we are encouraging it, but we feel we should leave it open. But both of you, each of you may have something you want to say about that. But for the moment, I think it's a point that we simply park.
Yes, certainly, my lord. We fully take that on board, as it were, and I
No doubt whichever of you loses will...
If we are the losing party, we shall probably be enthusiastic about that idea.
Very well. Yep. Anyway,
I mean, what you might help us at some point. What would you fear that Mr. Nung might do
Yes.
with the hotel that is worse than is already happening to it?
We would fear two things. One, that Mr. Management, that's to say the management staff which he would install to assist him if he didn't feel inclined to try to manage it on his own, and or his own management would be damaging to the reputation, custom and trade of the hotel because of the reputation which Mr. enjoys in Macau.
yep.
And my lords, as to that, and this is not a submission intended to create prejudice against Mr. And if it were, I'm sure it wouldn't succeed. But a point which may not have, may have escaped your lordship's notice is that the judge who found in favour of Mr. when a magazine in Hong Kong described him as a triad leader in 1990 was Mr. Justice Benjamin Liu, who subsequently became Vice President of the Court of Appeal and then retired. And on his retirement, he wrote the book, Hong Kong Triad Societies since 1997, of which an extract is exhibited by us, and which refers to Mr. As a long-standing triad leader in Macau, and the rival of another named long-standing triad leader who is very much in evidence still today. The evidence before the court at first instance showed that, or included evidence that when the New Century Hotel opened under the new management in 1997, it was sprayed with machine gun bullets by the principal rival triad gang. And that the reputation of Mr. in that respect, we suggest, would obviously be damaging to the custom of the hotel. That's the first problem.
Right.
The second problem is that Madame Chen is the undisputed 70% controlling shareholder of the company with the Portuguese name, including the words Mythologia Greja,
Yes.
which is the company which operates the Greek mythology casino, which is the central attraction of the hotel, but which is entirely independent of the hotel. It has a lease from Empresa.
Yes.
Madame Chen, whatever the outcome, will continue to manage the casino.
Yes.
And Mr. Success in obtaining interim control of Pexon will not make any difference to that.
Well, why is that a reason, then, for not acceding to his contention?
Because the prospect of the hotel being run by a party who is at loggerheads with Madame Chen, when the casino represents the principal activity in the hotel and the principal purpose principal object of most of the guests who stay there, is a recipe for constant dispute.
You accept she couldn't move the casino out of the hotel, do you, in response?
Well, we've only received that witness statement this morning, and I myself have only had an opportunity to read it quite cursorily. It is, from memory, correct that the relationship between the casino and Dr. Ho's organization is such that the casino could not be moved effectively without his consent. But if your lordships will allow me to say this on instructions, since we've only just received this...
Without whose consent? Mr. Nung's consent?
I'm sorry?
Without whose consent? Did you say...
Without Dr. Ho's organisation.
Yes, right. Without
Dr. Ho's organisation's consent.
Yes. Yes.
Madame Chen enjoys very good relations with Angela Ho, who is the fourth wife of Dr. Ho, who's still alive but extremely old and is generally believed to be leaving the management of his group to Mrs. Angela Ho.
Yep.
And for example, when Madame Chen removed Mr. as a director of Pexon in, I think, July 2012, I think. And this was a public act of which Mr. is well aware. Notice of the general meeting called to remove him was given to Dr. Ho's organisation as 20% shareholders, and they did not attempt to, they did not express any disagreement with the removal of Mr. At that stage. So there is no, it is perfectly true that Mr. connection with Dr. Stanley Ho goes back for 25 years, at least.
But just coming back to your 2 points of prejudice, I understand the reputational point. The division of control, effective control, if we lift the stay, between the hotel and the casino, might that, you say that will be a problem. I can see that, but precisely how would it be a problem? She can't move her casino out. He runs the hotel.
Sorry.
He runs the hotel effectively. She runs the casino. They both have an interest in the other's success for obvious reasons. Where's the big problem?
Yes, I entirely see that point, my lord, but it entirely depends on Mr. intentions regarding the management of the hotel, about which his evidence is completely silent.
I can see there's an element of each side cutting off its nose to spite its face, but there is a certain equality of arms in that connection.
Yeah, I follow that, my lord. I follow that. But at present, and ever since the beginning of 2014, the hotel has been managed by Mr. Xu, now in an unknown place in mainland China, on the evidence, and Mr. Chen in Fo.
I don't think that's right on the evidence.
No.
On the evidence, as I see it, he was back in Macau before a notary, shortly after he was kidnapped, but I may be wrong about that.
I believe it's a Shenzhen notary, my lord. May I look at that?
Okay.
This would be the details of the execution of the power of attorney, which is bundle C2. Forgive me for having to look this up.
C2.
C2, page 1068.
C2, 1068.
10 pages from the end, yep. 10, 11, yep. Yep.
Yes, page 1072.
Wait, where do you get one out?
I'm sorry, my lord.
Yes, let me just try and find it.
Page 1072, the notarization of the power of attorney is before a notary in Chuhoi, which is the
I see.
special economic zone of mainland China, inland from Macau.
I see.
It runs up from Macau to most of the way to Canton. Does your lordship see that at...
Sorry, what's its correct name, Mr. McDonald?
I'm sorry,
What's its correct name, the place?
ZHUHAI.
1072.
Sure, yes.
That's Mandarin. In Cantonese in Hong Kong, it's called CHUHOI.
Thank you very much.
Chuhoi.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. As I see, so this doesn't show he's in Macau. Thank you.
It doesn't show it was. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So then, you say those are your two main points of prejudice.
Well, developing the concern over management,
Yeah.
Mr. Chen In-fo, the deputy general manager, has been managing the hotel continuously for, or involved in the management continuously for, on my instructions, about 7 years.
Yeah.
He was the head of security.
Mr. Zhu. Mr. Zhu.
No, Mr. Chan.
Oh, him.
Chan
Yes.
In-fo,
Yes.
who's made 2 affirmations.
Yes.
Yeah. Coming in first.
He was the head of security in the hotel in the days before Madame Chen and Mr. Fell out.
The document I was referring to is...
I'm sorry, my lord.
The document I was referring to was C830. Which is a few days after the alleged kidnapping and forced execution of the 19th of October. This does take place in Macau, doesn't it? At least that's what it seems to say. This notarial deed, tab 10, there on the left-hand page.
Page 830.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This notarial deed was signed by the undersigned before me, a private notary office located in Macau on the 22nd of October. First signatory, Alan Shan. Second signatory, Mr. Xu. Isn't that the same man?
What page is your lordship looking at?
C830. So, this is a few days after the alleged kidnapping and the alleged forced execution of the power of attorney. Mr. Xu is in Macau, attesting some notarial deed, isn't he? Is that not the same chap?
Hoi Kin Wong.
No, the second one.
Yes, Hoi Kin Wong.
QCK,
Who's CK?
about halfway down.
No, with great
But
respect.
that's merely stating a fact, isn't it?
No, he's a... I see. Well,
My lord,
he's not a signatory. I see.
yes,
So it's
if we
first
look at page
signatory.
830, I, based on a power of attorney, that's
I see. So this is...
verify Alan Zhan's
Yes,
signature.
I'm with you. Thank you. No, that helps.
And the other party is
I'm with you.
Wong Hoi Kin,
Very well.
I see. No, that
other,
helps.
referred to in our notes as Peter Wong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that clears that up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Reverting then, you've referred to Mr. Chan, the Deputy Head of Security, and so on. You referred to. Now, are we dealing now? So you're majoring. Your 2 major points are reputation and conflict between the casino and the hotel. Are there any other points? Because you're now turning to history of the management. What's the point you're focusing on there, precisely?
On management.
Yes. Well, what's
Yeah, the point I made a few minutes ago is that there is not a word of evidence on the part of Mr.
Yes.
either in his own witness statements or in his other witnesses' statements, as to how he would manage the hotel if he was put in control of Pexon, the majority shareholder of the hotel company. He would presumably cause Empresa to appoint a new general manager and deputy general manager. The articles of Empresa require it to be managed in corporate terms. It's a Macau company.
Presumably you've got to appoint a new general manager because you say your general manager has disappeared.
We are hoping that Mr. Xu will reappear at any moment.
And when are you hoping that Madame Chen will reappear at any moment?
We're expecting Madame Chen to return to Macau this coming weekend.
Well, there's no evidence about that, and there's no evidence from her directly. I mean, people say
That is because she is in a part of China where she has no access to emails, but is only able to converse on the on a mobile telephone. Otherwise, I'm quite sure.
Which part of China is that? It surprises me that,
may I take
that there are parts of China with absolutely no access to emails, but maybe she's mountaineering.
May I take instructions from her son Victor Chen, who is in court?
Yes.
If your lordships will forgive me.
In my experience, in this remote part of China, they're all on there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My email has gone down. I don't think I'm not connected. So I can't.
I'll send her an email.
Get her email address.
She is in Chuhoi, I'm instructed, my lords, but the device, the mobile device which she has, is a Macau device with a Macau number and is not able to communicate.
Surely if she's there knowing all this is going on and it's very urgent and important to her, given the resources which appear to be available to her, it defies belief almost that she wouldn't have arranged to ensure that she could have email contact while she was in China.
Well, when she went on the 9th of November, my lords, the first round of this dispute had been concluded by your lordship's order, granting us a stay until further order. Madam,
what are the point
it wasn't alive.
By the time,
I'm sorry, my lord.
by the time she went on the 9th of November, the disputed transfer of the hotel had happened, hadn't it?
Yes, but
Some fortnight or so before.
yes, but
Well, what some people might look for is some sign of urgent activity on her part.
no, because, my lord, as our evidence says, and this has not been challenged, I've noticed no challenge to this in these submissions, or indeed in any evidence from the other side. Victory's success, despite having caused the attorney which it appears to have procured to be appointed for Mr. Xu to transfer the hotel to it, has not appeared or sent any representative to the hotel or attempted in any way
it may not
to
have-
take possession or interfere with the management.
It may well not have done, Mr. MacDonald. As you rightly say, that's the state of the undisputed evidence. But even then, if I were running a large commercial organisation in Macau and discovered that somebody else had acquired title to it, might I not take some rather urgent action?
If you knew that that had happened, my lord,
Yes, but she says she knew only on the 17th or 18th of November, but that's quite a long time ago, and she hasn't returned, she hasn't spoken through anyone. Various people have said they have her authority, whatever that means, to write affidavits or witness statements, but she hasn't emerged, and my lord's question is the obvious one, isn't it? Where is she and what's she be doing and why isn't she concerned? This is the most extraordinary course of events. Why haven't she at least she's been in touch, I gather, in some way. She has been in touch in some way.
yes,
Why has she
she's
given
been in touch
immediate
with-
instructions for all necessary legal steps to be taken?
well, she has now, if your lordships compare the second and third witness statements or affirmations of Advocate Letao, her Macau advocate.
All they say is that they're confident that when she gets back, she'll take a very poor view of this and give them all necessary instructions.
The
great-
last
That's the
one
last
does say that
yes,
she's
with great
now
respect.
issued the necessary instructions. But the point, I think, Mr. MacDonald, we'd like you to help us with is why that hadn't happened before. It looks awfully like a response to the fairly obvious proposition made against her that she seems to have done nothing.
We were caught out last Friday week, that's only 10 days ago,
Yeah.
by this application to discharge,
Yes.
supported by evidence which was served on us late on that Friday with the application,
Yeah.
and with our principal client, or our personal client, as it were, out of contact.
For 10 days out of contact, not contactable in a 10-day period, in the same country, Macau and China. Is that really the case?
Well, my lord, I can take instructions in more detail from Victor, who has been working with her at the hotel now for the last couple of years, and who is effectively in charge with Mr. Chen in Fo. I can take more detailed instructions as to the communication problem.
It does seem highly unlikely. I mean, it's always very unsatisfactory on these interlocutory applications, but one, at the moment, I find it, and I think we all find it very surprising that she really couldn't be contacted in this period, bearing in mind the modern electronic age.
Well, my lords, if I
I want
can,
to take instructions briefly and do so.
if I can go back to Lord Hughes's point, looking at the chronological series of events, it is not actually at all surprising that Madame Chen knew nothing about what Victory Success had done until her team received the documents from the other side last Friday week and succeeded in reporting and explaining what had happened to her. Everybody knew that the hotel was mortgaged to Victory Success. Your Lordships will have noted that we make a large point of that. Mr. clearly focused on the mortgage to Victory Success as early as June 2014, when his attorneys in the BVI had the mortgage translated from Chinese into English. I can tell your Lordship that I hope I can be allowed to tell your Lordship that Madame Chen's team did not become aware of it until it was an up-to-date search of the Macau property register was exhibited in the evidence on the first round of this application at the beginning of October, which we noticed included the registration of a mortgage to Victory Success in January 2014. Now, Mr. would have known about it straight away because he was a personal guarantor for the Chonghing Bank, who were the bankers who financed the acquisition of the hotel in 1997 and who remained the principal creditors of the hotel down to the end of 2013, and who were aligned with Mr. Their reaction to the falling out between Mr. and Madame Chen was to demand repayment and to stop financing the running operation of the hotel by Madame Chen. Their securities were all discharged at the end of January 2014. I think that's all in evidence.
Yes.
And that the securities included Mr. personal guarantee. So he was well aware that Victory Success had provided the funds to pay off the long-standing bankers. And no complaint was made of that.
May I ask a question, Mr. MacDonald, about the Victory Success loan?
Yes.
First of all, I expect I've just missed it. Have we got it in the papers?
No, the mortgage to Victory Success is not in evidence.
Or the terms of the loan? Mr.
No, I think I may be
Mr. Lighthow
My lord.
says in his second affirmation, page B104, it was interest-free.
It is.
that right?
It is in evidence. I do apologise.
I beg your pardon.
It's C2, page 999
Thank you very much.
999.
in English.
Yeah, that would be helpful, thank you.
And as your lordship see, it's a contract made in Macau on 5th January 2014 between Victory
Sorry,
Success.
999.
999, my lord.
Count 11.
Yes, I'm with you.
Nearly
Yes.
at the back of
Yeah,
C2.
now I've got it. I have it.
And there are three parties: Victory Success of the BVI, represented by Mr. Wong Hoi Keen, that's Peter Wong. Macau Hotel Developers, that's the English name of Empresa, represented by Mr. Xu and Mr. Chan In Fo, and Pexon, represented by Mr. Xu for this purpose. And it's a loan of 1.5 billion Hong Kong by Victory Success to Empresa. And the 1.5 billion is to be provided by paying off Empresa's debts.
Yep.
And then once the contract has been registered, the balance is to be delivered by Victory Success to Empresa in a one-time cashier's check.
Yeah.
Now, as appears from Mr. Victor Chen's witness statement, that has not been paid, that balance has not been paid, and there is Mr. Xu went to Hong Kong, to China, on the occasion when he was, appears to have been abducted, to negotiate with Victory Success in China, or I should say on the mainland, over the balance which was to be treated as truly owing to Victory Success, and which is in issue. That's in evidence.
Yeah. What was, this is a commercial loan, is it? This is a commercial loan.
Well,
What's the benefit, where's Victory Success's profit coming?
that isn't really clear from the evidence, because and this I can't explain, but I can tell you, Lordship, what appears from the documents. Page 1002.
Thank you.
Yep.
There's a declaration
Yes.
that the loan is an interest-free consumer loan. On the other hand,
Can we all have one of these?
on the other hand, the recent documents refer to default interest.
Yes, they do, exactly.
So that's simply puzzling.
I'm afraid I only asked the question, Mr. McDonald, because as you will have seen, the suggestion, whether it's well-founded or not, I have not a clue, is that there might be some collusive tie-up between you and Victory Success.
Well, there's no evidence of that.
Except
Interest-free
the
loan.
interest-free loan.
Well, if we look at the 22nd of October, 2015, and I'm working.
Which page are we looking at?
My lords, I'm working on the chronology which is included in our so-called preliminary submissions, and I have an updated chronology with the with the page numbers to the present bundle, which I could provide to your lordships if it would help. If that would help, I can hand up copies of the...
If you're working from a document we haven't got,
beg
it
pardon?
would be helpful. I think we have got it somewhere.
No, not an updated one.
Okay, we better see it then. Has Mr. Parker seen it?
I'm sorry.
I'll hand 3 copies of this to Mr. Parker.
Okay, let's. And Mr. Parker's got one. It's okay. Oh, there's other stuff.
He's got his own.
He's got. Okay. Well,
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, what are we looking at? We're looking at, you gave us the date. I'm sorry, I didn't write it down. What are we looking at? October. Mr. MacDonald, what date are we looking at? October 15, did you say?
Yes, 22 October
14 or 15?
2015.
Thank you, that's a penultimate page in this, yes.
Notarial deed of
Yes.
datio in salutum.
Yes, yes. What are we looking at for this for?
Empresa,
Yeah.
And delay interest of 108,000.
yes. Now this is
Yes.
this acknowledgement on behalf of Empresa
Yes,
is simply signed by Alan Jan, the new attorney.
yes.
So Madame Chen's team have no input into this, but Victory Success, the recipient of this transfer,
Yes,
requires Empresa to acknowledge indebtedness of 1.5 billion principal and delay interest of 108 million Hong Kong dollars. So
well,
That's
I suppose
disp-
it's fair to say that the loan was for 1 year, from January 14, and this is October 15, so I suppose the delay interest could have been interest due from after the first year, after the loan expired.
Well, it is a year, but it's automatically renewable,
But it-
clause 2.
Yes.
yes, but we know that it was, or at least there's a recital that it was terminated
Renewed automatically.
December 2014.
The absence of notice.
That's C1070. It's a recital, I imagine, to this document. I'll just check that. No, it's a recital to the in the power of attorney.
Oh, yes.
At all events, has she answered, Mr. MacDonald, the suggestion, which I think is directly made, that there is a close relationship between her and Victory's Success?
She
Presumably
has,
there must have been, because she...
Wait a minute, that's an ineffective determination, because you've got to give 30 days notice.
I beg your pardon.
Determined under clause 2, and this is 22nd December 2014, which is significantly less than 30 days.
Well, wait a minute. Notifying shall prior to the 25th of January repay. Doesn't that give notice? It's a notice of the 22nd of December.
No, I assumed it was,
Pay on the...
should be renewed automatically with the same term and condition, and thought it was renewed automatically for a year by... Anyway, so I suppose it's not very clear. We have an issue of interpretation which we don't go into. Okay, thank you. Yep.
It may be that delay interest, which is a translation from a Chinese document, would be better expressed as what we would call in banking documents here default interest.
Anyway, it does seem that the default interest must have been after the repayment date of 25th of January 2015.
That may well be so.
Okay. Right, sorry, we're going slightly herring off on questions from us. Sorry, my lord has a question.
No, well, I'm not sure I do have, but the suggestion is that the transfer of the hotel must have been at an undervalue. Your case is that the full 1.5 billion plus possibly default interest was outstanding, and it doesn't matter that only part of the original 1.5 was used to repay, or if it was only part was used to repay Mr. Nung, because the rest was received by impressor for some unspecified reason and was repayable.
Yeah, on the evidence,
Yes.
Madame Chen's team disputes the assertion by Victory Success that it had provided the full 1.5 billion.
Right. Your case is Mr. Chu had gone off to look for it.
Exactly. Yes. That may I show you, Lordship, that very briefly in Victor Chen's affirmation in Bundle B. Tab 13. Paragraph 6, page B 110, 110.
Yes?
Madame Chen, before she went to the mainland on the 9th of November,
Yep.
was extremely worried because Mr. Xu appeared to have been abducted during a visit to China on 17th October. He'd gone there for a meeting with the financiers whom he himself had introduced in January 2014 for the purpose of disengaging from the syndicate led by Chongqing Bank, who had been financing the hotel since 1996. Those financiers had provided funds to pay off the Chongqing Bank syndicate, but disagreements had developed over the balance of their facility. That's the 1.5 billion facility, which Mr. Xu was seeking to resolve. So he goes there to see them to resolve that, which is a live dispute with them by mid-October. And it is abducted, and 2 days later appears to, assuming his signature is genuine, execute a power of attorney to some unknown person, presumably nominated by Victory Success, and the unknown attorney then executes these further documents. They come to light because Advocate Ascension, Mr. Um's advocate in Macau, who has taken the precaution of obtaining an order from the Macau court echoing the BVI Court of Appeal injunction, unopposed by us. It makes no difference, except in terms of jurisdiction and enforcement. Advocate Ascension, having obtained that injunction, goes to register it in the property register, and he then finds that the transfer to Victory Success has been registered, and obtains copies of the Victory Success documents since October 2015. They are then used to mount an application to discharge on the basis that Madame Chen is in some way responsible for them. Her evidence is that she knew nothing about them, or rather the evidence of her team, based on instructions from her and their own knowledge, or lack of knowledge, is that they knew nothing about them until they received copies from the other side after they'd been obtained by Advocate Ascension less than 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Now, we then had to take them on board, analyze them. We made our preliminary submissions as directed by the registry within 2 days of receiving this application. We included the chronology in which we'd attempted to make sense of these documents. The suggestion, which I think one of your lordships made to me, that surely Madame Chen would have been vigilant and known about them, it really is answered by asking rhetorically how many people monitor on a weekly or daily basis the property register in respect of their properties. I mean, how
Yes, I see. Yeah. Okay.
the advocate assumption found it because he had occasion to go and register something himself in the property register. We had Madame Chen, by we I refer to Madame Chen and her team.
Yep.
We had no occasion to look at the
We have that point.
property.
We have that point. Now,
Sorry.
That's all right. We've had quite a lot of questions for you that you've answered, but this is, with all its unsatisfactory aspects, an interlocutory application. Are there any other points you want to make at this stage? Because if so, please.
I know I don't need to go through it with your lordships because your lordships will have read and considered it. But
we have a limited time for this, so you can certainly draw attention to anything you want, but make it speedy.
yes, may I remind your lordships of how this has gone? If we look in bundle A at tab 18,
Yes.
that's page A12.
Yeah, we've seen these submissions.
Page
Yeah.
A124.
Yep.
The way this was put
Yep.
last Friday week
Yes.
was that Madame Chen was obviously in cahoots with Victory's success.
Yes.
And this is all an attempt to deceive this board, defeat the Court of Appeal injunction, etc., etc. And we dealt with those assertions paragraph by paragraph, page 124
Yep.
to 126.
Yes.
And in my respectful submissions, the point we make,
Sorry, which page are we on again?
124A,
124 to
124.
126,
This is really your submission dealing with the points.
we do address each of the assertions put in different ways that
Yeah.
coincidences and that sort of thing indicate that Madame Chen must be responsible, but there isn't a scrap of evidence. And it's really entirely consistent with Mr. Xu having been abducted. That should be so.
Yes.
I mean, it is very remarkable that this attorney whom appears to have been procured to appoint 2 days after he was abducted, has not only executed the transfer to Victory Success, but has also purported to approve that on behalf of Pexon. See our chronology at 16 November 2015.
Yep.
And this is their document, or as found somehow by
Yes.
Advocate Ascension. I say their document, both in the sense it's a Victory Success document and it's a Victory Success document obtained by the other side. There's a document dated the 16th of November,
Yes.
though your lordships note my note in italics, these minutes appear to have been notarized on the 22nd of October, another oddity, which I think the other side comment on. There's a special shareholders meeting of Empresa at the home of Alan Zhan, and his address is given as Shanghai,
Yes.
which confirms the transfer of the hotel and appoints what the English translation calls assistant personnel.
Yes.
And then there's also an action on the same occasion by Pexon, who's represented by this same Alan Zhan, purportedly, and is elected chairman and secretary of a meeting of Pexon, all at his own home. And that meeting of Pexon appoints Alan Zhan to be the personnel, the expression used in the English translation, with comprehensive powers.
Yes.
I mean, that's an extraordinary and obviously ill misconceived instrument like that doesn't we would suggest points against any collusion between these people and Madame Chen.
Yes, I see.
Can I just ask one question? All this is supposedly happening following a kidnap. The only evidence of which we have is a police report which doesn't refer to the content of what is being reported at all. It just reports that circumstances were reported. Doesn't say what they were.
Yes, Madame Wang He, who was with Mr. Xu when he was abducted, doesn't have a copy of the report that she made to the police. She wasn't provided to her, but what she has is a receipt by the police.
But what
confirming
have any
she'd
steps
reported
been taken since then? Have the police done anything? Has anyone else done anything?
We don't know. This is mainland China. We don't know.
Well, I noticed that in the two statements which were made 2 days later by Mr. Charney Fo on behalf of Madame Chen, he's the Deputy General Manager, he refers to Mr. Xu repeatedly as the current manager, and he says what Mr. Xu would have to do if Mr. Nung took over, Mr. Xu might have to leave, and both Mr. Xu and I would have to resign. There's no suggestion on the 19th of October, 2 days after the alleged kidnap, that Mr. Xu has disappeared.
No, well, there's no... I can tell, Your Lordship, I hope, that when that evidence was prepared, Madame Chen's team were quite unaware of what had happened to Mr. Xu. Madame Chen...
No, but Mr. Charney Fo knew perfectly well what had happened to Mr. Xu, presumably. He's the Deputy General Manager.
On my instructions, Mr. Channing Fo did not know at that time that Mr. Xu, who'd gone to the mainland, had been abducted.
But Mrs. Chen, Madame Chen hadn't told him.
Well,
She'd reported it to the police, but not told the Deputy General Manager.
Well, no, she didn't report it to the
No, she...
She had caused the lady who was with Mr. Xu on the mainland.
Anyway, she hadn't told.
Report that to the police, and there is simply no information.
Very well. Now, as I say, we've asked you quite a few questions. We started late, but nonetheless, I ought to ask you whether there are any other points you want to make at this stage. Are there any other points you want to make at this stage?
Well, the general point that we would make,
Yep.
Your Lords, is that Your Lordships were satisfied on the evidence and applying the appropriate principles that the stay until further order should be granted at the end of the first round.
Yep.
Nothing has happened. None of the extraordinary events which have now come to light makes any difference to that.
Thank you. There's been no change of circumstances.
And as far as the proceedings in Macau are concerned, and I've now got in mind what is said, and it's really a submission by Mr. In the last witness statement or affidavit which we received this morning. What is said is that his advocate Ascension is going to apply ex parte in Macau against Victory's success on his behalf as minority shareholder in Empresa on the 4th of November, and that is Friday of this week.
Yes.
Advocate Letao's evidence, and if I may, I'll just very briefly show
Well,
you.
no, we're really running into time.
Sorry.
So take it very shortly, please.
He is issuing proceedings in Macau on Thursday,
Yes.
and as soon as he's issued his proceedings, he will be applying ex parte against Victory's success on behalf of Madame Chen as majority shareholder in Empresa, on behalf of Pexon as majority shareholder.
But he agrees, doesn't he, with the proposition that Mr. Ng, as a minority shareholder, has locus to make the application in Macau.
Yes, and he makes the comment by way of submission in support of Madame Chen on this occasion, that because he's got the same right of action in Macau as the majority shareholder, he does not need to be put in charge of Pexon in order to pursue his proceedings in Macau. Advocate Letao, who has been acting for Madame Chen in the proceedings against Mr. in Macau since 2012, and there's a lot of evidence about that in the first round of evidence. Advocate Letao, in his third affidavit, has set out in detail his comments on Advocate Ascension's suggestions about the proceedings. He has said that he will cooperate with Advocate Ascension. It looks as though there'll be two parallel applications. Advocate Letao's application will actually come first on Thursday, maybe, but one would expect that the Macau court will arrange for them to be heard together. And one will have two teams of advocates seeking much the same relief against Victory Success. And that in itself belies the suggestion that Madame Chen is engaged in a nefarious scheme with Victory Success.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. MacDonald. Mr. Parker.
Well, Lord, may I first of all pick up on the procedural query of Lord Newburgh at the beginning. It relates to sort of ambiguity, is quite what was intended by your Lordship's order. Your Lordship will appreciate that the order was made on an application from a learned friend's side, which was seeking an order pending the motion to the Court of Appeal. So it wasn't seeking an order until the substantive hearing before your Lordships. It was simply asking to hold the fort till the application could be made to the Court of Appeal for a stay. And that was consistent with the decision of the Court of Appeal on the 2nd of October, which was that they weren't prepared to entertain the application for a stay, but they would entertain it when it was combined with an application for conditional leave to appeal.
Yes.
So one change of circumstance, therefore, in light of that background, is that that application for conditional leave is presently listed to be heard week commencing 11th of January.
That's the application to the Eastern Caribbean Court of Appeal for leave to appeal here. Is that right?
Yes.
But it's as a right, is it?
It's yes, effectively, it's subject to some de minimis restrictions.
I mean, you're absolutely right about the technicalities, Mr. Parker, but I think you should probably know that we approached the application on the basis that in substance it was an application for a stay pending any appeal here.
Well, that's fine. Now we know. However this goes, we won't be asking for a
In other
re-roll.
words, to preserve the position.
Pending the substantive appeal. I'm obliged. That's very helpful. Thank you very much. Now, in terms of what my learned friend says about the concern about Mr. Ong, if Mr. Ong were allowed to manage matters in the interim, your Lordship will appreciate that my learned friend says, well, he's concerned about the damage caused by Mr. Ong's reputation, and obviously reputation is reputation, no point reciting the facts. But that obviously goes to the question of security, which was the whole premise behind the application that was made, because it was said, well, the Court of Appeal can refuse a stay, but if they refuse a stay, then they have to consider security. So to the extent he's complaining about a financial prejudice, it's our submission that really he should be urging not that Mr. Eng shouldn't be allowed in, but he should only be allowed in on condition he provides security.
Are you offering security?
Well, my Lord, we would consider that against the backdrop of what was actually being proposed by way of security, my Lord. We're not ruling out providing security. We've simply not got to that territory.
Well, we have in a sense, because we're being asked to decide how to hold the ring. And surely, if you're saying they should be seeking, that you should be granted your relief with security, you should be offering security.
Well, I hear what your Lordship says. I don't have instructions to offer in security. It's our fundamental premise that they are using the legal problem about there not being security to go at it a completely different way, and say, well, we should have been given security, but because we weren't, he shouldn't be allowed in at all, as opposed to identifying these are the figures they put upon the financial prejudice, and therefore, unless Mr. Ung provides security in that sum, he shouldn't be allowed in. And well, the second aspect was obviously in respect of Greek mythology, and your Lordship has the point that this really all depends upon the attitude of Dr. Ho, who has so far, in terms of people coming in and going out, shown himself neutral on the question of management.
Well, you might like just to look at B55, which is what Madam Chen actually says through Mr. Chan Yifo on the 19th of October.
Oh, yes.
B55, paragraph 41. She doesn't mention any of the problems which are now mentioned. What she says at the foot of the page is, if Mr. Nung were to be given some role in the interim management of Pexon and thus impressor in the hotel, Madam Chen would refuse to work with Mr. Nung, and she may have to either shut down the casino completely or move the casino out of the hotel, subject to discussions. Well, it's now accepted the latter is not a sensible proposition or feasible. And as to the idea that she'd shut the hotel casino down completely, that would be cutting off her nose to spite her face. There's no mention that she thinks it would be bad for the reputation of the casino. Maybe somewhere else, but I haven't spotted it at the moment.
My Lord. And we also rely upon the fact that one of the oddities is that Victory Success, having taken over ownership of this property, has made no efforts to actually take possession of it. And well, fundamentally, we say that the starting point for my learned friend's application, in line with the application he made to the Court of Appeal, was his assurance that Mr. Ung would be well protected by the undertakings. And clearly, it's a situation where Mr. Ung has not been well protected by the undertakings, and therefore that implicit promise has not been met.
So you start with the proposition that the system put in place by the Court of Appeal has not worked.
The system that your Lordship's put in place,
That we put in
yes,
place, yeah.
it hasn't worked. The fundamental premise was
Okay, I got
the
that.
state. My Lord, I'll go as quickly as I can, my Lord. Now, insofar as Madam Chen says that she has nothing to do with this and she knows nothing about this, we would highlight that obviously Madam Chen's credibility is non-existent in light of the findings of the BVI Court of Appeal. Contrast the position with Mr. Ung, the BVI, where the Court of Appeal has overturned the findings on credit against him. Madam Chen accepts that Victory Success is a company that Mr. Ung has nothing to do with. It's a company that was introduced to Empressa by the General Manager, Mr. Xu. It's been highlighted that the loan the Victory Success provided was interest-free, which suggests some connection with Victory Success and Impressive Management. We highlight that the Court of Appeal on the 29th of September was told about the notice of the Extraordinary General Meeting scheduled to be held on the 30th of October, which proposed the transfer of the hotel to Victory Success, which you have at page 638. And the response from the Deputy General Manager was that he and Mr. Xu knew nothing about it. Yet, of course, things have played out exactly as they were set out in that notice.
Sorry, what was the date of that, Mr. Parker, please?
It was
29th September.
September.
it was provided on the 9th of September, and I think it's dated the 4th.
What's the page?
Page 638.
638. Right at the beginning of C2,
Yeah.
tab 6.
Yeah.
So your case is that long before there was any question of an alleged kidnap and a power of attorney obtained in apparently strange circumstances, this document, wherever it came from, signalled an intention on somebody's part to record the transfer of the hotel to Victory Success.
By way of datio insulatum.
Precisely,
Yes.
in settlement of the loan.
Yes. And there's no suggestion whatsoever from Madam Chen's side that they contracted Victory Success to inquire as to what on earth was going on.
So this document, as it were, crossed the line between the parties at the latest on 29th September.
Yes.
Right.
And of course, not only no evidence of an inquiry of Victory Success, nothing was said about the alleged difficulties in respect of Victory Success. We'll return to briefly in a moment. Your Lordships have the points on the coincidences of timing, which are highly suspicious. Your Lordships have seen that according to the documentation produced with a power of attorney, the relevant money has been said to be outstanding since January 2015. And there's been no comment from Madam Chen's side as to whether that was the case, whether they knew that to be the case. I mean, obviously, the documentation is not of itself entirely reliable, to put it mildly. But nonetheless, one would have expected them to say that we had no intimation that this monies were due, to put forward a contrary case and saying, this has all been sprung on us, but not so. And of course, if the money was outstanding since January 2015, the notice of the EGM would make commercial sense, but nothing was said. But the coincidence is, of course, that on the basis of the money being outstanding since January 2015, Victory Success did nothing until the Court of Appeal finally gave its judgment on the 2nd of October. They, an allegedly neutral party, are content for things as they are until such time as Madam Chen is seen to have lost. And the transfer itself, 22nd of October, takes place on the day before the share register was due to be rectified, which was the 23rd of October. And there's an exchange between the solicitors where it's confirmed on Madam Chen's side that they take the relevant date for the rectifications of the 23rd of October.
Rectified in favour of Mr. Ng under the Court of Appeal?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, my lord.
Yep.
Yes.
And one sees that page 915. Now, in the meantime, your Lordships had stayed the order, but that was an order that was due to expire on the 26th of October.
Yes.
There's the inconsistencies in the evidence that we rely upon. My Lord Mance has already pointed out that there's no mention in the General Manager's evidence on the 19th of October that in fact Mr. Sue had been abducted.
Yeah.
There's nothing about the EGM in circumstances where it is now said that Mr. Hu had gone to meet with Victory Success because, quote, disagreements had developed over the balance of their facility, but we're not told what the disagreements were. We're not told whether the disagreements were a result of genuine indebtedness or were invented. We're told nothing about them. It's obviously a very convenient justification for Victory Success taking the property. Mr. Leto, for his part, originally poured scorn on the notice of the EGM on the basis that the resolution of the shareholders of Impressa was not needed to transfer the property. But he now accepts that a shareholder resolution would improve Victory Success's position.
What does that go to?
Well, my lord, instead of responding on the EGM notice and saying, yes, this is potentially relevant to a Victory Success transferring the property, and therefore it's part of our investigations, we're trying to find out why this was drawn up, they say, well, it's just a legally irrelevant document.
I see.
But now they accept that it's not a legally irrelevant document.
Yep. Thank you. Yep.
Your Lordships, yes, to throw into the notes, Your Lordships have the point that Madam Chen hasn't made inquiries of Victory success. She hasn't appointed a new general manager with the abduction of Mr. Hsu.
So that goes to what?
Well, my lord, it's all to do with the fact that she is not in the least bit perturbed to learn that Victory Success has taken this transfer.
Yes, I see.
In an effort to explain why it's got nothing to do with her, she puts forward the notion of the abduction of Mr. Hsu. But equally, she seems to be entirely unperturbed by his abduction as well.
Yes, I see.
And when she finally gets around to doing something, it is done in a very leisurely fashion.
So this is going to not so much prejudice if we continue the stay, but to her credibility, is it?
My lord, it's going to the fact that we say that your lordship should approach the evidence on the basis that at a very preliminary stage, obviously, but the evidence indicates that Madam Chen is in cahoots in some way with the Victory Success. And this is not a wholly independent third party causing the hotel a problem.
I think that each of you is on fairly strong ground if you say that there are problems with the reliability of the other side's evidence at this stage. The ultimate question is prejudice. It seems to me, at any rate.
Well,
I see your point. If there are any other important points on credibility, then don't let me stop you making them.
Well, my lord,
ultimately, we're concerned today with prejudice.
well, your lordship sees why in the context of this transfer, we say Mr. Ng's credibility isn't really the issue, it's Madam Chen's. Obviously, in the context...
What's the fear that Madam Chen is going to do which will damage you? We are, after all, about how to hold the ring, or what to do between now and a final decision about whose shares, the Pexton shares, beneficially are.
Well, my lord,
You're afraid, presumably, that she's going to suck all the value out of the shares by disposing of the hotel. Is that it?
well, my lord, this is the point, my lord, that the hotel has been disposed of. At the moment, we have this very strange dichotomy where the hotel's been disposed of to Victory Success, who are supposed to have nothing to do with Madam Chen, but Madam Chen's people are still running the hotel pro tem. Right. The fundamental point in terms of the diminution of the value of the assets is getting the property back. And we have, on the one hand, Mr. Ng, who has acted with great alacrity to try and get the thing back by applying for an injunction on the 24th of November. It's the 4th of December that there's going to be a hearing whether to accept the application, but he's made his application days ago. And you contrast that with Madam Chen, who hasn't reacted to anything that's been brought to attention since the 29th of September. So we submit that in terms of who should actually have control of all relevant matters, principally for the moment the application to try and get the property back, that should be the one person who A, has demonstrated that he's concerned about it, and B, on the evidence, clearly doesn't have any connection with Victory Success, and therefore will be concerned to get it back. Yeah. Well, can't say that about Madam Chen.
Could I ask what the proposals are from his side for preserving the assets of Pexton against the possibility that in the end they turn out to be Mrs. Chen's?
Well, my lord, he has offered undertakings in the same terms that Madam Chen gave, which were both in terms of preservation of the shares and taking no steps that would undermine the value of the underlying assets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's it, is it?
My lord, it is.
Mention security.
Well, my lord, you see, that's on the basis that, as your lordships have seen, our submission was that seemed to us to be entirely fair, because when Madam Chen was thought to be the owner, she just gave the undertakings, that's all she did. And now that we are thought to be the owner, we say, well, we should give the undertakings in the same way that she did. But to allow her to continue in management when the Court of Appeal...
But I'm sorry, I pressed the question. You brought up the question of security, but you're in no position to suggest anything.
No position today, my lord. And again, comes back to the point I made at the beginning, that this is all against the context of the Court of Appeal we're going to hear Malone and Friend's complaint about the absence of security. And that was the origin of the application. He hasn't pressed in correspondence.
Yes, I see.
So
in a sense, the order we're being asked to make, you say, is really over to, I think you said we were told it was the 11th of January. Is it that when it's going to be
It's the week
heard
commencing 11th of January.
And that's when that aspect will be heard by the Court of Appeal?
My lord, yes. Which is to say, that's the terms in which the application to your lordships was made.
But wait a minute, do they have any discretion in the matter? If it's an appeal as of right?
It's a question of stay.
It's a question of stay, my lord.
Yeah.
They would say to you, if they were prepared to be in your favour, we will refuse a stay provided you provide security.
Yeah.
They have to consider
security. Maybe we will order.
My lord, yes. And we obviously say that, subject to seeing what proposals are, the court can accept undertakings to perform security.
I see.
Understand.
My lord, so even if one proceeds on the basis that Madam Chen is an honest party, we say that her conduct shows her to be incompetent.
And between now and then, there is to be the application in the Macau court, which you're saying would be better carried out by your client than by Madam Chen, because on any view he has, on the face of it at any rate, no interest in maintaining the transfer of the property.
Well,
Okay.
But what he said is that you have in fact got ample lockers in Macau,
Yes.
in any event, and that nothing can go wrong. Not that nothing can go wrong, but that you are in as good a position to preserve the hotel between now and the 11th of January as you would be if the stay were lifted.
Well, I will do that. Obviously, at the moment, Madam Chen is taking proceedings in which, on the basis of the Court of Appeal's decision, she has no interest. Now, in the context of the legal position in Macau, I haven't been able to get instructions as to whether there is a risk on the 4th of December that, because of the application being brought by a minority shareholder in Presser, that the application will not be accepted. Subject to that, it is my understanding that the injunction will run for the moment, but the action is an action that is easier to pursue if the company has declared the transfer to be contrary to its interests, which is something that could readily be done, but hasn't been done.
Yes, I see. Yeah, very well. Thank you.
My lords, I think that.
Anything else you want to say?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Miss Lord. Mr. MacDonald.
My lords, the question of security that my learned friend refers to, and as the issue of security, arises under what we've called in the documents Section 7 of the relevant order in council.
Yes.
The 1967 Virgin Islands Appeals to Privy Council order refers to its various parts as sections.
Yes.
Now, the Section 5 deals with...
Where do we find that?
I'm afraid we haven't provided your lordships with copies of it.
What's it
whether
called
your
again?
lordships are
our own
able...
document.
Appeals to Privy Council order. Yeah. The appeals to Privy Council order. We
Yes.
must have it somewhere.
Yes.
Yes. I can hand the only copy I have up. It's fairly easy to... The provisions are quite short, and I
It's
can
specifically
manage...
for the Virgin Islands, is it?
Yes. Virgin Islands Appeals to Privy Council Order 1967.
1967.
SI 1967, number 234.
Yes, I've got it. Thank you.
I may be the only person in court who hasn't.
No, you're not, because I've got it.
I can hand that up.
If you want to have a look.
No, it's all right, don't worry.
It's Section
Keep
7.
your copy, Mr. MacDonald, otherwise we shall all be in difficulty.
Your Lordship,
Section 7, is it?
yeah, what one would expect to be called Rule 7, it's actually called Section 7 in the language of the order.
Yeah, but if the court directs the decision to be carried into execution, the person in whose favour it was given shall, before execution, enter into good and sufficient security to the satisfaction of the court for the due performance of such order as Her Majesty in Council shall think fit to make thereon.
Yes.
So there's no discretion. The Court of Appeal will be, if it's left to them, the Court of Appeal will be required by Section 7 of the order either to stay the carrying into execution of their own order, or if they permit it to be carried into execution, to require security from Mr. For the consequences of that if Madame Chen eventually succeeds.
How come we got in a situation where they made the order for an immediate transfer without dealing with this until apparently the 11th of January?
Well, your lordships have got the transcript of the telephone hearing before the Court of Appeal on Friday the 2nd of October, at which Mr. Was represented by a local attorney from Harney's who had not appeared before them on the Tuesday. Mr. Parker and I had gone back to the UK, but I was heard on the telephone. And this was the hearing which was supposed to take 10 minutes during the short adjournment, but which took an hour and a half because the court wasn't able to provide facilities for a telephone conference. And I referred them to the order which your lordships are looking at. They obviously did not have access to it and weren't familiar with it. And it didn't appear that they really grasped, with the greatest respect, what we were submitting. I mean, we were submitting that they should stay the order until the occasion when they granted leave to appeal, which they would have to do because it lay as of right under the order in council, and that on that occasion they would be required to either to stay it or to take security from Mr. And that being so, they should stay it in the meantime until that stage was reached under their own rules. And because they didn't do that in our initial application, we said that they had flouted the rules and that the result was unjust.
Well, you're effectively in front of us.
Yes.
Now we're
on
in
an
front.
appeal. I suppose we have all these powers.
Well, we suggested these were exceptional circumstances, and your lordships were enough satisfied to grant the
We haven't got permission to appeal.
stay initially. But
Question of a stay.
Yes.
yeah, the Court of Appeal and your lordships indirectly are obviously bound by the order in council. And my learned friend has no instructions to offer any undertaking or anything by way of security for the purposes of the prospective application of Rule 7, which is still in the future. What's being heard in the leisurely way these things proceed in the East Caribbean Supreme Court, what's being heard in January is the application for conditional leave to appeal. That is bound to be granted under C Rule 5 of the Order in Council. The property concerned is...
It's bound to be granted, absolutely. Yep. We don't need to worry about it.
But they will grant conditional leave. They will then presumably adjourn it until their May hearings, when they will be satisfied that we've complied with the condition by putting up £500 security or whatever it is.
Okay.
And at that stage, under Rule 7, they will have to comply with Rule 7.
Okay, so what's your point at the moment then?
My point at the moment is that a stay until that point is reached is really inevitable in order not to render Rule 7 of the Order in Council or Section 7 of the Order in Council nugatory. And that is the same principle as the principle shortly stated by Lord Justice Cotton in Stirler and Fletcher, the authority we referred to in our submissions, and of which it's a well-known authority. I've got copies of it here. It's exactly the same principle as is reflected in the... .446
Yes, I mean, surely all Section 7 does is to give the court a general discretion.
My Lords, I may have to ask your Lordships for my copy back in order to deal... Oh, no, I have a copy. I have a copy.
I mean, you're at the
No,
moment asking for it to be suspended. It's the Court of Appeal's order, yes?
Sorry, Lord?
You're asking the court, you will be asking the Court of Appeal to suspend it or the effect of its order pending appeal.
Yes, I'm making this submission from memory as to the terms
Yes,
of...
and my point is this, that on the face of it, the Court of Appeal makes its order, which will be against you. You then have to apply for suspension. It's no question of Mr. Ng having to provide security. There's nothing in Section 7.
I think from memory,
Well, let me give that back to Mr. McDonald.
from memory, the word in
It's
Rule 7 is shall, not may.
Yeah, but
I may
there's-
be wrong.
Shall on terms grant a stay of execution if it thinks just, but if it doesn't,
Yes,
there's nothing.
yes.
it has
Well,
to do
the
with
court shall have power
Yes,
either to direct that the decision shall be carried into execution, i.e. not to stay it,
yes.
or else to order it be suspended pending appeal. But in case the court shall direct the decision to be carried into execution, in other words, say, yes, go ahead with, carry our order into execution, no stay, the person in whose favour it was given, says the Order in Council, shall,
Yes,
before the execution thereof, shall before
yes,
the
before,
order's
read on,
executed.
read
In other
on, read
words,
on. Yes,
before
yes,
he's
but
registered
read on.
holder, enter into good and sufficient security to the satisfaction of the court,
Quite.
for the due performance of such order as Her Majesty in Council shall think fit to make thereon.
Exactly, so it's a matter for the court as to what it considers to be satisfactory security.
Yes, and that will have to
It
be...
may decide nothing.
And that will have to be considered on the basis of the consequences to Pexon if this board decides that Pexon belongs to Madame Chen and that and upholds Mr. Justice Bannister, or alternatively we succeed on the basis of the jurisdiction point.
Yes, but the irony is in this case, each side is saying if we don't grant the relief it seeks temporarily, it will be permanently disadvantaged. Of course, if you can say if a stay is refused and Mr. Ng then goes ahead and does things that permanently damage you, the benefit of an appeal is a successful appeal is severely attenuated or removed. But his case is if we don't, if we do grant a stay, then the risk is the other way identical. So it's a similar point.
No, it's a question of balance of convenience, of course, Lords. But
I see your point that prima facie, if there's a real risk of damage, which will not be compensatable otherwise if you win the appeal, then some sort of security should be ordered. I see the force of that.
yes, and your Lordships, of course, aren't bound by the decision of the Court of Appeal in Stella and Fletcher, or by the observations of Lord Justice Cotton, but it is the classic case
you're
on
right.
the principle. And what Lord Justice Cotton said, page 446, is that
Well, so Sir George says much the same, doesn't he?
if not making the order to stay would make the appeal nugatory,
It's a pretty high test, isn't it? And Lord Justice James says it's only under very special and exceptional circumstances that such an order should be made.
Yes, and Sir George Jessel says the court, I assume, for I do not know the facts, being satisfied that there be a danger if it were not to interfere, etc., then there ought to be a preservation. It's a question of the court's assessment, as one would expect.
If that's so, the way Lord Justice Cotton puts it, and it is his formulation which is always referred to,
Well, that may be
is that it is the duty of the court to interfere and suspend the right of the party, and that is reflected in the mandatory provision at the end of Section 7 of the Order in Council.
But he says that the jurisdiction ought no doubt to be very carefully exercised.
Your Lordship's
I'm sure we're
are
being very carefully.
very
yes.
carefully. But the reason we came here is that the Court of Appeal didn't appear to, they didn't have the Order in Council before them, though one would have thought they would,
Yes, okay.
and they simply didn't appear to grasp the point at all. They weren't prepared to treat leave to appeal as inevitable, though as a matter of common sense, looking at Section 5, it obviously is. And they were not prepared to look ahead to what the Order in Council says their duty will be when they reach the point in their leisurely way, maybe next May, of granting unconditional leave to appeal.
Yes, I see.
Could I have another look at the Order in Council, just the wording?
May I hand it? I should have brought copies of this, I'm sorry.
No, we should have them.
I'd like to ask briefly, Mr. Parker, what you say about this, because hasn't been opened to us.
Well, my Lord, we reiterate, my learned friend says, I have no instructions to give undertakings, as I say.
No, but what do you say about Section 7?
Well, my Lord, we say that it's security to the satisfaction of the court. And this is in the context, obviously, they have to provide security for the appeal and a sum of £500. So it doesn't necessarily mean that security's got to be in millions or anything
No,
of
but
the
it's a
sort.
different sort of security, Mr. Parker.
Well-
do you or do you not agree that, first of all, that they're bound to get leave?
I've agreed with
You
that.
may
Right.
accept it.
Having got leave, do you or do you not agree that the making of an order against you for security to avoid the shares being deprived of meat in the meantime is also inevitable? That's what's said against you.
Not in the form of necessarily of any sort of financial provision by way of guarantee or payment to court, and that sort. They don't accept that as inevitable.
Quite.
It is our position that the court can, by way of security, accept undertakings, the undertakings that we offer, in the same way that they have them from Madam Chen. Now, sorry, my Lord, if they don't accept that, then they could only order security in the light of some evidence as to the present financial trading of the hotel by a hypothetical comparison were Mr. Ung to take over, which would then be in a position to consider whether we were in a position to provide security of that sort. But simply to come to court and say there's going to be financial prejudice without any figure being put upon it, we submit is simply hopeless, and it's unfair to us.
Okay. Was the question of security specifically dealt with in any of the affidavit evidence before us?
No.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, Mr. MacDonald, anything else you want to say?
Well, there is, just by way of reminder, there is, of course, quite strong evidence as to the successful management of the hotel by Madame Chen's appointees. And the quickest and shortest point there is in our submissions in, I think, tab 12 or, yes, tab 12 of bundle A.
Thank you.
Paragraph 27.
Paragraph 12, tab 12, paragraph 27, thank you.
Page 93 of bundle
A93,
A. It's the table at the bottom of paragraph 27.
Roughly speaking, what are the exchange rate between the pataka and the pound?
The table shows the Macau government tourist tax
Thank you.
based on occupancy of the hotel.
Thank you.
In July and August for the years beginning 2012,
I see.
when, and in July 2012, Mr. was had just taken over by force in June and was then evicted after a month.
Yep.
But and Madame Chen took over the management again. But as one sees, the given the evidence as to the decline of the Macau gaming industry, which is notorious over the last 12 months, the occupancy of the hotel has held up pretty well
Thank you.
on those figures under Madame Chen's watch, as it were.
Yes, I see.
Where is the prejudice that you rely on now best put, if it is put, in the evidence or the submissions?
That's best put in Mr. Chen Info's first witness statement. Under B,
B6?
tab 6.
Yep. Paragraph. You've got no longer, it's really
Yes, it's
paragraph
starting
33.
with paragraph 33.
Yes.
Yes, I see. So this is
Okay, yep.
what you rely on.
Yep, okay, that's fine, thank you very much.
And it continues
Yeah, yep, up to,
right
up,
down
up to
to
B56, yep,
the following page.
yep, we have that.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you. Yes, very good, thank you.
And I think that the last point I would respectfully
Yes.
seek to make, if your lordships have time to look
Yes.
at this, I don't mean before I sit down, but
Yes.
when your lordships are considering what to do, is the observations in B14, B tab 14,
Yes,
by Mr. Leitaio, Advocate Leitaio,
yes. Thank you.
setting out the basis on which he considers, this is B117,
Yes, yes, we have
paragraph
that.
10,
Yep.
the grounds on which he will be submitting the conveyance was invalid,
Yes,
instructed to cooperate with Advocate Ascension, and he then in paragraphs 12 and 13
yes,
sets out, and the lordships don't have time to go through this with me on my feet,
nope,
but perhaps your lordships would just follow this up by, with a finger in Advocate Ascension's
yes,
affidavit, which is at tab 11.
yes.
So with a finger in tab 11, if your lordships
We
would
have the
just
point. Yep,
follow up
the points in paragraph 12 of this
12
affidavit.
point,
Yep,
12.1 to
And 13.
13
Yep.
points 1 to 4.
point taken,
Your
yep,
lordships will see that there are some quite important differences between the approach of those two Macau advocates, but there's also a lot of agreement.
yep,
They will both be pursuing the same objective. It may actually be helpful, mutually helpful for them there to be two separate applications. Our application is likely to get off actually first on Thursday, but no doubt one would think, as a matter of common sense, Macau Court will end up dealing with them together.
Does Advocate Leitaio agree with the proposition that the undoing of the disputed transaction would be assisted if Empresa, as the company in question, had resolved that the transaction was repudiated or was against its interests?
Well, it will be, the action will be brought by Empresa primarily.
Got it. Thank you.
According to Advocate Leitaio. These are,
Yes, right, that answers
he
the question.
explains this in detail. I'm sure your lordships don't want me to go through that.
No, that
on my
answers the
feet.
question.
thank you very
He
much.
explains that ideally Empresa should be the applicant.
Yes.
But the Macau court, and one can see that the Macau court is
Yes.
meticulous to the point of pedantry in requiring to be convinced of its own powers.
Yeah.
And there are the judgments, if your lordships looked at them during the first round, are pretty impressive,
Yes.
actually, in their treatment of the law. This is on ex parte applications where the court has, on its own initiative, examined the law very, very closely.
Yes, very well. Is there anything else you want to say at this stage?
But the
Because I think we really have to.
he says that the court may not accept
Yep.
that Empresa can be represented by Mr. Chen in the absence of Mr. Xu, but in that case, it will recognise the shareholders as having lockers.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Models, could I just mention document 281 is a list of the judgment creditors, as at the 13th of August 2015.
281, thank you.
C281.
C1, 281. Yes, very well. Thank you very much. We'll retire briefly and be back within the next 5 or so minutes. Court's temporarily adjourned. Thank you. In the light of the volume of evidence and the arguments that have been put before us, we don't think it's right to give a concluded decision on the issue raised on this application today. We will hope and expect to give the parties our decision by the end of this week. It'll be in writing, there won't be a need for a further hearing. One point we would make is that a commitment on the part of Mr. Ng to provide security might well influence the outcome of our decision. It's fair to both parties that we make it clear that if no offer of security is made, it doesn't mean we will continue the stay. And if an offer of security is made, it doesn't mean that we will discharge the stay. But certainly the argument relating to security has had some effect on our thinking. And in those circumstances, we would propose to give Mr. Ng till close of business on Tuesday, tomorrow, our time, to provide commitment, an offer in relation to security, were we to discharge the stay. Thank you. Court's now adjourned.